Hey guys, I got with the picks. It is Monday, early morning. Yesterday, we went 1-1. Um, Saints just couldn't get anything going offensively. They were up 7-0 most of the game, ended up losing 10-7. Um, I thought their offense was going to, I don't want to say explode, but I thought they were going to do, I thought they would have matched the defense a lot more today than they have, and they just didn't. And I tell you what, Steelers fumble at the goal line. They don't replay. Had me thinking, like, this is really how we're going to take another L. And nah, we got that win. So we went 1-1. My beloved Steelers did everything that they had to do. And the damn Dolphins. Ugh. I tell you what, we got a lot of promise going into next year with Pickett, Peckins. I mean, they started rolling. Defense started looking good. So, I mean, and Tomlin finished over 500 again. I mean, he just finds a way to do it. I know here in TikTok they were asking about records, so I went back and looked at records. And right now, from the start of the football until right now, we're 84, 68, and 3. It's like 55.4%. Our record this year is 7-4 with football, college basketball, and pro basketball. What we have tonight is, we all know what we have tonight. We got championship night. TCU, Georgia. Georgia given 12.5, total 63.5. You would think a game like this, a line should never be 12.5. It should never be double digits. It's just my opinion. I don't mean that I'm taking a side. We all saw the last two games, TCU and Michigan and Georgia, Ohio State. So, I don't really need to break it all down, and I'm not going to. To be honest with you, this comes down to a one-game season. This is one game, winner take all. We got some questionables on both sides. I expect them all to play. Both these teams average over 200 yards rushing a game. And obviously, with TCU going up 20-3 and Georgia falling behind Ohio State, which Ohio State pretty much had no running game. I mean, they came into the game beat up with running backs. Their game plans were changed quickly. I say the better team here is Georgia, and I'm not just trying to be cookie cutter with it. I think Georgia is the better team. So what I want to do is I want to see what Georgia is going to try to do, and I almost want to mock that. So what Georgia wants to do is they want to run the ball. They got 3 to 4 talented running backs. Obviously, McIntosh is the leader, but I mean, you got two other guys right behind him that run the ball hard. Very good running backs. I mean, they'd be starting on probably 90% of other college teams out there. Georgia wants to run the ball. What else they want to do is they want to limit possessions. And how does a team and how does a head coach put that plan into effect? Is they establish their offensive line, which Georgia could, this sounds crazy, Georgia could struggle on the offensive line a little bit in this game. TCU definitely does have an undersized defensive line. But what does that really mean? You've seen what this defensive line really did against Michigan and the running backs, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, they want to limit possessions in this game. And I think they'll have success even against TCU's stacked. They run a 3-3-5 defense. And I tell you what, it's a hell of a 3-3-5 defense. I mean, when they played Texas, I mean, Texas got one of the most decorated running backs there is in college football, Bijan Robinson. And I mean, they absolutely held him to nothing, zero. I don't think Georgia will gash the TCU's defensive line. I don't. Do I think they'll break off a couple big runs? Probably, just because it's Georgia, but I don't think they're going to be gashing this TCU's defense by any means. I see a lot of like 3, 4, 5, 6 yard runs. And I see a lot of the same on the TCU side. With either Miller, I think Miller will definitely give it a go. I mean, how can't he? Or, I mean, we seen with our own eyes what Demercado did last week to Michigan. I mean, kid ran all over Michigan. I have to believe Georgia's defense will cause problems at times for Max Duggan. I don't even want to use the word probably, but just because I don't know, I have to. They're probably going to assign a safety to not take their eyes off of Quentin Johnson the whole game. Even if the other side, you see the running back, you see a wheel play or you see a streak play, they should still be going to Johnson's side. They should not be going to the other side of the field. And I think Kirby Smart is smart enough to do that. He's going to try to limit Quentin Johnson as much as he can. I see Georgia getting, say 2 or 3 drives, 6 or 7 minute drives. We'll put it at 6. 7's an awful long time in college football, especially with an offense like Georgia. We'll say 6, okay? And then drives that end with scores and stops on defense from the Georgia side will deflate a whole lot of hope in this TCU team. Now, don't get me wrong. Outside of Edwards' runs last week against TCU, the first play of the game, if you remember, Edwards ran the ball for 54 yards on the first run. Well, he ran the ball 22 more times in that game for 65 yards, averaging 2.9 yards per carry. And that was against the best offensive line in football, most say. Now, I can see TCU on offense doing the same thing to Georgia as Georgia's going to be trying to do with TCU. Listen, I don't think either of these teams want to be in a shootout. They don't. There's way too much risk when it comes down to a game like that. I mean, we saw last week. I mean, if Ohio State could have straightened it up, hell, we could be talking about the Buckeyes being here. If they would have called, targeting on the last play of the game, or not last play of the game, but that Michigan game, which in my view was clearly targeting, who knows what would happen? These two teams do not want to be in a shootout. Can it turn to a shootout? Of course it can. Do I think it'll be a shootout? Absolutely not. I think, especially Georgia is going to want to limit possessions. TCU is going to want to limit possessions also. But I do think Georgia is the better team. Do I think they're better by 12.5 points? I don't know. I mean, 12.5 points is an awful lot of points. A lot of points. I mean, TCU's as hard as fish grease. I mean, let's just keep it real. I mean, this team consistently finds a way to win. Look, I'm not on either side. You guys already know that. and I wanted to say at the beginning, I really don't care who wins this game, but I really do. Or maybe I want to see TCU win, just so Georgia don't get back-to-back. That's all. I don't want to see Georgia get back-to-back. I'd rather see somebody else outside the SEC be the first to get back-to-back in BCS championship. I would like to see that. So obviously, guys, you already know what we're taking. We're taking TCU Georgia under 63.5 points. Now, I know that's not going to be a fan favorite. It's definitely not going to be a public favorite. But I remember being told a long time ago, you ain't got to like the play. All you got to do is play it. And he was right a whole bunch of times. Guys, thank you for the likes, comments, subscribes, everything. Enjoy yourself. I think we should have a very good championship game tonight. I'm excited to watch it. Guys, until I get back to you, you already know. We're going to get back to getting this cash.